Is it?
And we're live because we didn't have a starting screen.
Oh,
We got to get things started properly. Cheers, Patrick.
cheers.
Cheers,
Cheers, Mike.
cheers. Folks, happy Thursday. Thank you for being here. We have my good friend Patrick back for just a nerd chat, a nerdJabber. We're going to call it a
Yeah.
nerdJabber.
Yeah,
Patrick, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. You maybe hear, maybe there's a small echo because I'm back in the studio. I'm not at home anymore.
The world continues to spin.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's a good feeling. I mean, we have 24 degrees outside. The sun is shining. The studio is super bright, as you see, and it's feeling good.
Good.
Things are turning back to normal here, which is cool.
That is a good thing. They're trying to do that here in my country, but we clearly didn't manage things well. We have spikes everywhere. It's a mess. It's a mess. We don't have the discipline and like the country national feeling of like we're gonna get through this as a group mentality like you guys seem to.
It depends. It depends. It's yeah. A lot of people, or some people do have this kind of spirit, but a lot of people don't. I mean, in the supermarket, I mean, I think you have the same social distancing rules, like this 1 meter 50 thing.
Yeah, 6 feet, so like 2 meters.
Yeah, what the fuck? Nobody knows what fucking 6 feet is. But yeah,
It's
we
about
have.
yay big.
So, so how tall am I in feet? I'm 1 meter 82.
You're a little bit taller than me, right? So
Maybe
you're like 6 foot.
6 foot. Okay, then I'm fucking
6 foot,
foot.
5'11" maybe.
Okay.
I'm 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there.
Okay. So yeah, this is the thing. In the all the people in the supermarkets and shit, they don't really distance. They don't hold the distance anymore. So let's see what it brings.
Are you guys masks when you're outside right now?
Not outside, but wherever you go.
Gotcha. And Nicholas is
So
saying that most of Denmark, he's saying is like 80% compliant, which is, I mean, we're probably batting like 45%, 50% over here.
Yeah, man, it's tough. But I'm honestly, I didn't really realize how shit the whole situation is when I was at home, because the situation at home was different anyway. So the thing that everything outside was different, I didn't really realize it. But now when I'm back in the office, I realize I can't go have lunch. All the restaurants are closed.
Yeah.
Everything is kind of strange, but it seems normal. I show you. This is our office window. This is
Your
in our
perch.
studio, and it looks normal. This is our Buzz Lightyear wall. These are the first three sketches of Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, that's
And this is
awesome.
Tanya's place. And yeah, this was the Studio Crips edition.
Where's the jacket? I want the I should make it a rule that I need to see the jacket again. I can't get enough of that jacket.
Oh, you mean the rainbow one?
Of course, I mean the rainbow one.
No, this is for really special occasions.
So I have a couple of things that I want, or I have a thing basically I want to show you. For the folks that are listening or in the chat, I was not kidding. We don't really have a plan for today. We're not really going to be doing anything except for chatting and talking about stuff. And so if there's anything that you want us to talk about, let us know. And we'll do our best to, if we have an answer, we'll give it to you. And if not, we'll make something
Yeah.
up.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
But I had an interesting thing happen this morning to me. I was up really early working, and generally speaking, when you like get in the zone, right? You're in like a flow state. Things are happening, and you're just kind of moving along like smoothly. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know how typically like you get into that mindset, and then you look at the clock like at some point, and you're like, "Holy shit! 5 hours went by." You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, of course. I think it's yeah. The right definition is the flow. It's
Yeah,
called the flow.
a flow state. So I was working on this project this morning, and I was very much like in that like zone, and I was getting a whole bunch of shit done. But then I like looked every time I looked at the clock was like 3 or 4 times. I expected like 4 or 5 hours to have gone by, and it was like 40 minutes. So like I felt like I got like 3 or 4 mornings worth of work done today. I've never had
Yeah,
that happen before. I've never been like in like a flow state and had time slow down, or not slow down, but just proceed normally. It was amazing, and I don't know how to do it again, and
you
but
should.
I want
Yeah,
to.
that's what I wanted to say. You should fucking recreate that.
I want to. I felt like a superhero. It was amazing. It was the coolest thing. Um, and So, anyways, that was this morning, but this other thing happened. So I sent you a message last night or yesterday or 2 days ago,
Yeah.
who knows? And I asked you how FStorm does rendering out particles from TyFlow. There's a thing I'm working on. I need some animated particles, and I need them to react to like a camera move and a couple of things that like just comping them in post. A, I don't know how to edit video that well to begin with, and B, like I wanted it to match the camera, and so I asked. That's what the question was about. And FStorm is notoriously bad at dealing with particles of any variety.
Yeah. That's a thing because all the particles, as you know, in TyFlow, are like you have to mesh them.
Yeah.
So they are actual meshes in the end. So FStorm deals with actual poly geometry.
Yeah.
And which can be quite intense in the end. Because if you have some high-res spheres and you scatter a simple scene with like 20,000 spheres, every sphere has like 1,000 faces, then
Yeah.
you know that's simply not possible.
Yeah.
Which is really, really shit.
It is
Also
shit,
the,
and like
the lack of VDB support.
lack of VDB support, lack of like meaningful particle support, because the problem isn't so much that like, okay, I could deal with instanced meshed geometry maybe, but then if I want to change something, like, okay, so I need to do all this thing just to render it and see what it looks like, and then
Yeah.
anyway, so I wasn't gonna go down that route. So I started thinking maybe I'll use V-Ray, maybe, and then I had a thought. Let's spend like 20 minutes, half an hour trying something, and I did this. Where is? Let's see. I've got to share my screen in 2 places. And if Chop is out there listening, or he's listening to me later, he's not going to be pleased. I opened up Blender for the first time in a very long time.
Dude, I did the same.
Really?
Yes, I
Wait.
did the same 2 weeks ago.
So let me, okay, there's my monitor, and then how do I share my screen on here so that you can see it as well? Screen of main monitor. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen, and the folks at home is probably seeing the GoToMeeting thing. Let's hide that. So I did this little guy. Hopefully you can see that. It's nothing amazing. The camera move is garbage, obviously, and it's just like that little monkey head. But I haven't used Blender in 5 or 6 years. And like the keys are all over the place. So it's not just like, oh, I'm going to hop into Marvelous Designer and do something. And this, including rendering and watching like 2 20-minute tutorials. I think it's Blender Made Easy or the 2 tutorials I followed. This whole thing was made and rendered out within like an hour from the time I opened a tutorial.
So you use Cycles GPU for it?
Eevee.
Oh, this is Eevee.
This is an Eevee.
Fuck. Also the depth of field.
So there's depth of field. There's obviously volume, particles. There's no motion blur. They don't have a real motion blur yet. You need to add it in that you can composite motion blur in using a vector or a velocity map. And so it doesn't have that in there. But otherwise, yeah. Which to me, I'm not saying that this is the most beautiful thing in the world. Obviously, it could use some refinement. But the fact that I opened this up not really knowing how to use Blender anymore, and was able to get it done in all of an hour, including render time. Right, this is like 150 frames.
Yeah.
It's just
Which is quite awesome, man.
it freaking blew my mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do I get back?
I started learning Blender just out of personal interest. I mean, I love my Macs, and I will always love Macs.
How do I
but I
how do I
started
stop
learning-
sharing my screen?
Huh?
Oh wait, I'm trying to figure out how to stop sharing my screen. What's going on here? Drawing tools. I don't want drawing tools. Oh, stop sharing screen. The big button that says stop sharing screen.
Yes. So I started learning Blender just for a personal interest with this super popular donut tutorials. You should check out the donut tutorial from the guy Blender Guru.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Andrew Price, I think is his name.
Yeah. This super popular guy.
Yeah, I will check it out. I'm gonna play with it more. I'm not planning on giving up like 3ds Max anytime soon, but
No, me
for
neither.
like 1 hour of using Blender, I was impressed. I was very much impressed.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I didn't think I was gonna be able to actually get anything done in that amount of time. So
But I wouldn't. So
what's that?
I tried it, and maybe it's because you tried Blender before, so you knew the system a bit. When I was using it the first time or opened it the first time some weeks ago, it is simple to learn, yes,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't have been able to recreate that what you just did.
Yeah, you could, because you just follow along to the tutorial.
Okay.
And yeah, and you have to stop all the time. It's just like, how do you scale something? It's not, E or R or whatever. What is it? R.
It's super cool. The grab, scale, rotate GSR thing.
It drives me nuts. Every other software is WER.
I love it. Grab, scale, rotate, and it's so cool to just grab the object and then lock it afterwards, and that you can lock it with your mouse. Then.
It does look like it's figured out pretty well. I need to actually figure it out. It's more of an annoyance just because there's so much muscle memory. Like whether you're in Modo or Maya or 3ds Max,
Yeah.
Your fingers kind of sit on QWER, not GRS or GSR.
I
whatever.
think that's kind of okay for me. I think the worst shit ever is that the navigation shortcuts. When you have orbiting, panning, zooming. Is, man. Have you ever tried? Let's say the English version, ZBrush.
ZBrush, you mean? You're talking about ZBrush now?
I mean ZBrush.
Yes, I've used ZBrush.
Yeah, and that's for me when I started using it. It felt so uncomfortable because the orbiting, panning, zooming was so different.
Did you do it? Were you working with a tablet or a mouse?
Both. I started with the mouse.
With a mouse, I found it entirely unusable. With for whatever reason, when I started using a tablet, it did feel a little bit more natural, but it's still F brush. We'll call it F brush from here on out because I can't deal with that.
I tried when I think it's 2 years ago. I tried a trial version of Mudbox.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really, really cool. Like a really easy version, same controls than Max. I mean, same navigation controls.
Yep.
That was super cool to use and super simple.
I've never used it. I know that they made a big deal. They didn't do anything with it. I was reading an article not too long ago. They didn't do it. Autodesk didn't do anything with it for a number of years. People thought they were just going to cancel it, and they've just restarted going through and actually doing R&D to improve it again, which is a good thing, I guess. I was playing with 3D Coat though.
Oh yeah, I tried that as well. It has some pretty cool VDB Boolean operations and stuff.
It's got some like what I'm in my head. What I want to find is a good like messy modeler, right? Like something that 3ds Max I feel like wants to do things cleanly, otherwise things go poorly. I want something where I can like Boolean and cut and slice and just like work in all of the ways that kind of make me cringe. And then still be able to render it at the end.
Yeah.
You know,
We have Mike. We have a question.
Oh, way to be on top of the chat, Patrick. Let's do it. Where's this question? Oh, we got it from Daniel. Arc Renders.
Yeah, how do you guys see on the near future working on Unreal projects? Or how long do you think still images will still be relevant? I think still images will be relevant for a long time.
Yep.
Still.
I think that I think that still images they'll be like less popular right now, like especially in ArcViz, right? Like it's almost all images and then some animations and some AR, and I think that shift will change. But you know, we've had video cameras for a long time now, and photography still exists. I think it'll be like a proportion in how it's used that continues to change. I think the bigger question though is, Patrick, what's your outlook on Unreal?
Unreal, I hate fucking Unreal.
Don't hold back now. You can give us your real opinion.
No, really, it's we did some VR projects with Unreal, but and I guess it's pretty cool once you really dug it. But for me, the thing I really don't like about Unreal is that the whole UI looks like a computer game.
Yeah.
It looks, the whole Unreal Engine system, the whole UI, and also in the end the UX, which is horrible as well.
Wait, the U what?
The UX, the user experience, because it's
also UX.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because X is German.
X. I'm like, wait, U8s? U8s? What's the U8s?
And yes, Unreal for me, Unreal and I, we're not friends. We know each other.
I think it's gonna be everywhere though in like 5. I mean, it already is everywhere, but like, it's barely made any inroads into like ArcViz, and obviously like a lot of studios are still relying on traditional renderers. I think Unreal is gonna be like huge in the next 5 years as far as like non-game workflows. It already kind of is, right? Like film is already picking up onto it because there's so much that you can do with live action with Unreal that you can't do with traditional renders. But I mean, Unreal Engine 5 looked amazing. I have to imagine, or I'm hoping that, I mean, that was a pretty impressive little 2 minutes there.
Milan just said, who would expect that a video game engine looks like a video game? I don't know. If you know Unity, it doesn't look like a fucking video game.
Yeah.
Unity looks okay. Unity is a bad example because Unity looks super boring.
Yeah,
but
looks like it was made in MS Paint.
I'm a real UI person. I love cool and slick UI. So that's the reason why I love the UI of Cinema 4D. I mean, I'm not using it, but the UI is beautiful. And the new UI of Blender 2.8, like the newest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the newest is 2.82 or 2.83. I don't know.
I think I was using 2.82.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2.8 was the step they made.
2.8 was definitely the big rewritten code, and they got rid of, for a while, like, they had, like, the mouse buttons, like, not reversed, but, like, you had to right-click on things when you thought you should it was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Yeah. No, I think, for me, I think Unreal is a cool thing, but for me, not at the moment. When they brought out the twin motion stuff, I tried twin motion, that's it's this thing where people are talking about at the moment, this democratizing rendering, blah blah blah. When I used, sorry, I had to burp. When I used Twinmotion the first time, it's just sliding a few buttons, and I don't want to sound rude, but Unreal for me was too heavy and a lot of things, because it looks okay. Maybe it looks like a computer game, and the engine looks really kind of plastic-like and a bit weird, but it took a lot of time to learn Unreal properly.
Well, I think
It takes a lot of time.
I would expect, right? Like, obviously, Unreal started as a game engine. It's getting more and more into doing film and special effects and all of that kind of stuff. I would expect to see Unreal continue to like branch out, right? So that like right now everything in it is built and designed for games, and then it can be used for other things. And I think as more films use it, as more let's face it, ArcViz isn't probably going to push the needle in any direction for Unreal. But as more people use it, I wouldn't be surprised to see variations that, emphasize non-game aspects. Like you haven't played with Lavina yet, have you? From V-Ray?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
What was I haven't played with it yet. I've been supposed to playing with it for a while, and I'm not. What was your reaction?
It looked cool. I used it, or I tried it when the first beta came out, and it's cool because it's real time. I mean, it's denoising super fast, and you see a lot of artifacts when it's denoising, like in the back part in the background parts of the image and in the more far away parts. But I love it, and it's kind of cool to use it and to know, wow, it's using full RTX technology and shit, and real-time ray tracing and stuff. But in the end, I didn't have a case for using it. There was no case.
Well, I mean, my kind of thought or my hope with Lavina is that, like, you think of how much of like the resources in Unreal or Unity are going towards gameplay stuff, right? Lavina's not trying to be a game engine, so basically all of the resources within the engine that are allocated for all of the things you need for a video game can just be focused on image and visuals, right? So you can have it like streamed down and then just make that as cool as possible. Because I think that would be amazing if you can get like full V-Ray quality stuff in real time. And B, I feel like it's the only way to kind of beat Unreal right now. Because at the end of the day, Unreal's pretty much free, right? Like, I would deal with if I had to use something that was real time, for like AR or a VR presentation or something like that. If Unreal's free for me to use, if I'm going to pay a significant amount of money for a different solution, it needs to be more than just the UI. It needs to be a lot better of a solution.
Of course.
This
is just of course. I would, if I have to do, or if I would have to do a real-time project at the moment, I would totally use Unreal, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, totally. And yes, the thing is that all the people are talking about the necessity to learn Unreal, and that it's coming and it will be the next big thing. But that's a thing I talked with Chop about a couple of times. Nothing in this industry. Nothing in this industry. Honestly, I hate calling ArcViz an industry. That's
why not?
Something that, because it always sounds weird for me.
I mean, like, would you call film an industry? I mean,
yeah, but maybe it's because I'm German, and the thing industry is a big like a really, really big thing. It's heavy and big
Okay.
and
I'm like, are you
dark.
thinking like factories and manufacturing when you hear industry?
Yes, kind of that.
Okay.
And something big and dark and heavy.
Yeah, I mean, like, the two meanings in English are pretty split, right? Like, industry can mean that. Industrial, it means like making, manufacturing, all that kind of stuff. But then industry is just kind of like field.
Yeah, the field. Yeah. Okay. So everyone is talking about that Unreal will be the next big thing, but I think I will learn proper Unreal once it is at a point where some things are kind of democratized, like some things are fixed and some things are because I don't have the need at the moment to learn it properly because we don't have projects yet where the people are asking, yeah, please can you do this real-time stuff, because we are doing a lot of different projects, but also VR. Not a lot of clients are asking for VR because we were talking about still images. When a client asks us, oh, can you do this VR stuff? I say, yeah, of course we can. But then they always
And then you sit down and figure it out.
No. I know how to use Unreal. I mean, I'm not really good in using blueprints and shit, but
Yeah.
I know how to do a proper walkthrough, which
Yeah.
looks moderately good.
Well, like, there's a
So-
couple, like, really big things that, like, as ArcViz artists you need that they don't do well. You know, like glass and reflections.
Yes, and yeah, this is the thing I talked to Chop about. Nothing happens overnight. Also in our industry, really nothing. There's not a change that tomorrow you need to do this and still images will be gone.
Yeah.
You can prepare. You can be prepared always. So if you see a trend.
Yeah, and the technical part of learning a software is usually the easier part, right? I think. But you know where I think it'll make an inroad into our field or industry more than anywhere else is that I think that clients will get used to change. Like, typically, if you're rendering out like a 2 or 3 minute animation in ArcViz, right? And you're doing that at 4K and you're doing it at photorealistic quality, those are long render times, right? Yeah. And so, that kind of the general standard way of working with the client on that is you do play blast and then, like, your spot frames that say, here's what this looks like, and then you see the play blast and then all the way through. And then basically, like, once it's rendered, changes are going to, cost money, right? And I think that will still be the case, but as clients get experience with people working in Unreal, Eevee, whatever, anything real time, it's going to be like, oh, can we move that camera a little faster or a little further or anything else? Yeah, sure. 5 minutes later, you have another 25 seconds, 30 seconds of frames rendered out. I think it's going to change what clients expect on that end. More so than like VR and AR. I think it's going to be how films are created and edited and then commented upon by clients.
Yeah. But what do you think about the Unreal 5 demo? I mean, we saw it. Every person on the planet shared it.
I know, like I spent that entire day just clicking on links and watching the same video over and over and over again. I never clicked on the same link twice. It was always from somebody else.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I was very impressed by it. Obviously, like, when you set up something like that, you cater to your strengths, right? But the amount of geometry and, like, the quality of lighting in it, like, so we don't get a lot of the things that we really, really want from an Unreal and from Unreal engines or real-time engines as ArcViz artists, right? Because we want sharp reflections, and we need glass, right? Like architecture is half glass, and so we don't get that. And obviously, there was none of that in their preview because they can't do it yet. But the quality of light, right? Like the fact that like the geometry didn't appear tessellated, right? Like in most game previews, like you can still see polygons here and there. You don't see really any of that, and I felt like the actual like feeling or kind of like mood and ambiance of like the lighting in the scene and everything else was gorgeous. Like that, I was very blown away by.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't do like it looked to me like they did that run through and then put it into post, and then somebody in DaVinci Resolve or Premiere or whatever made it super beautiful.
Yeah.
And the fact that they didn't, and I believe them when they say that they didn't, is I think stunning, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, it was. I have to admit, it was more stunning from a gamer's point of view.
I don't play the games.
I do. I mean, I started. Yeah, I think now I stopped again because the lockdown is over. But I was playing a lot of Call of Duty. What is it? Call of Duty Warzone.
Okay.
This battle royale game with
gotcha.
It's 150 or 160 players against each other, and that's super awesome.
It's insane. Yeah. It's weird. I want to play games so incredibly badly, and like in college I played a bunch. My problem is that in my later life, like basically after 24, right? Every time I've like said like, oh, I'm gonna try out a game or whatever else, like a week or 2 weeks of my life disappear.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah.
But but like I have no ability to like say, okay, Mike, you did your work today. The baby and the wife are asleep. You get an hour or two of gaming. Like if I do that, if I sat down and said that to myself at 10 o'clock at night, it'd be like 8 a.m. and they'd all be getting up, and I'd be like, just one more level. Just one more level. I can't. I'm not gonna die this time. Like I can't do it. I consider myself a pretty willful person and a pretty disciplined person. But if I start a game like until I beat it or like completely give it up, like that's the only thing I'm doing.
Yeah, that's super tough. When you did you? I don't know. Then you might not have played the Witcher.
No, I've not played The Witcher.
Man, that is fucking fantastic. I mean, maybe somebody in the audience played The Witcher. The Witcher 3. That's you're just everything. The atmosphere is so fucking dense that you're just lost in the game.
I mean, I've looked around in The Witcher, but like that's like how long does it take to beat Witcher 3? It's like 40 or 50 hours, right?
I don't know. After my addiction around Christmas, I played it 3 weeks in a row, and I was not done with it, and so I forgot to continue. So my save game is still on my Switch.
I mean, like I played. The last game I played was Limbo.
Oh, that is so fucking awesome.
Am I thinking of, is Limbo the black and white one, or is Limbo the second one?
Yeah, it's the black and white one.
So I also played the one after, but that game takes like 4 hours to beat. Right? Like, when you look at it, like, like, okay, that's a night. But then life goes on. Right? Like, last time, like, me and my buddy played Halo, that was like 30 hours of playing online of like just like we got drunk twice in the time that it took to like before we left the couch. Like it was just insane. And I'm just not good at it. So like something like Limbo's like my perfect game. I like puzzly games. It's gorgeous. You can stop Limbo at any point and it's an image that like I wish I had made. Like any frame of Limbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll get like sick and not be able to leave the bed, and then I'll just be like, okay, well, I'll just play video games for a week until I feel better.
I can really recommend a Switch. Getting a Nintendo Switch, man.
So I can take it with me everywhere? That would be a terrible thing for me. That would be a terrible thing.
Let me quickly get another beer. It takes me 5-10 seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna sit here and talk to the audience.
Oh yes.
And let me, guys. Whenever I'm talking to somebody, I get so bad at following the chat, and I apologize for that. But yes, we do need topics because otherwise we're just gonna talk about video games and God knows what else all day. But let me catch up on the entire chat here since I didn't, shout anybody out, which, I try to do as much as possible. There we go. All right. So, who all do we have here today? Because I should have done this at the very beginning, and I'm going to do it again. Do it now. Vlad, Miha, Daniel, Claudio, Nicholas, Daniela, Ian, Juan, Nicholas, Milan. So you get to about this point, Patrick, and then it's like, which names did I actually say or not? Jason or James. Jason and Fabio are talking to Victor right before us. I hope you guys checked it out. Victor, the founder of Beauty and the Bit. One of the happiest, friendliest, nicest people I know.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is such a great dude. And speaking of Unreal, the Landmark, I forget what they named the redo of Landmark that they did in Unreal. You know what I'm talking about? It had a different name. Beauty and the Bit made Landmark, that really cool, beautiful, like like Icelandic architectural short,
which was amazing,
stunning, absolutely stunning. And then he worked with Unreal. Excuse me. They basically took that same idea and recreated. They didn't recreate the film like shot for shot, like it's like a sequel. And then the Unreal team made it, but Victor, I believe, like art directed it or directed it. I don't know what the title would be.
You mean this thing with the hidden HQ base? Something.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not so much hidden; it's just in the middle of nowhere.
I was going on a long road and with all this quick film stuff in Unreal. Yeah.
And so Victor's version, the first version's absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And then like the Unreal dudes basically figured out how to make it real time. Like that same like beautiful aesthetic that Victor started with, they did real time.
Yeah, here see I come in the audience.
Tassos!
Rebirth. Yeah, now I remember.
Yes.
It was super awesome.
And again, like those types of environments, Unreal is obviously in their home, but I mean that the fact that they were able to like, because the grading that you could still do real time, I'm just blown away by that stuff. Tassos has an interesting question there. How do you maintain high energy levels for creativity when you have long downtime periods at work and you don't spend 10 hours a day playing games?
Oh shit, I didn't see that. That's a tough one. You go first.
I mean,
but you're not playing games. So.
I mean, well, that's the thing is that I think if I played games, I would have lower energy levels. Because like with what little free time I have outside of work and family obligations, when I say that I don't like the way that sounded. Family obligations. It's not like I have to do things outside of the time I get to spend with my family, my wife and my daughter, and work. I'm generally like making stuff or practicing things or planning whatever I'm gonna do next. And I get a ton of energy out of that. Like, if I sit down and draw for an hour, I feel really good afterwards. I feel like that for me is like what other people get when they go to the gym or go for a run or something. Whereas if I sat down and played video games for 10 hours, at the end of that, I'd be like, you just wasted 10 hours. And I would be bummed out about myself.
Yeah, that's always the point. That's the reason why when I play games, I mean my PlayStation, I don't play computer games because I know if I would do that on my computer, I have a high tendency to be a game addict in the end. So I don't have a single computer game on my workstation or something.
Yeah.
I just have a PS4 and one or three or four or two, no, one to four times a year I put out the PS4, and then I have my 1 or 2 weeks where I play a couple of evenings.
Is it because like a game, like what causes you to pull it out? Is it because a game comes out that you're excited about, or
yeah,
is it just
a game release?
Okay. Does Tanya play with you?
That's a good one. Tanya loves to watch me playing adventure games like The Last of Us.
Really?
Yeah, Tanya loves the storytelling games like Uncharted, Drake's Deception, The Last of Us, the Tomb Raider parts, like adventurous and story-based games. That's what she loves, and she loves to watch it with me and to give clever tips. Maybe
but like she doesn't want to like play at all. Like she has no desire to actually like take the controller. She just kind of wants to like watch and help as an observer or enjoy as an observer.
Yeah, I think I don't even know if she ever hold a controller.
Well, she'll answer in the chat. There's like the delay. I wish the delay with the chat was shorter, but I understand a lot internet things are happening. But
yeah,
you know why I think that's so like super interesting, because one of the things that I've been thinking about, not all the time, but occasionally, is the esports world. Right? Like video games, esports is like the most growing thing in the world, as it turns out. And
which I think I am too old because I think it's super boring.
I've never sat down and watched somebody game, unless I'm like waiting for my turn, right? But that being said, one of the interesting studies that I read or articles that I read about it was that it covered like two things, right? Like when you root for your favorite football team, or soccer team as I would call it, and I root for my favorite American football team, like emotionally, you experience the same emotions and get like the same like neurochemicals going through your brains as the teams themselves, just at lower levels for most people, right? But like when your team wins, you get the same neurochemical dose that like the winners got. But at the end of the day, how do we actually consume most sports? More often than not, we're watching them on a TV than in real person. And at that point, does it really matter whether or not we're watching a real person do the things, or we're watching a computer or a person control the person? Like, if you think of like soccer, what's the real difference in experience from you sitting at home watching your favorite team versus you sitting at home watching your favorite game player?
Yeah, there is no difference, I would say, because for me, watching soccer or sports in TV is even more boring than watching esports. So I admit, yes, I completely agree with you, but I find both of the things super, super boring. So,
well, like I watch one sport. I watch American football, and I really only watch one team. I watch the Green Bay Packers. Go Pack, go! And like Jay's commenting, and what up, Jay? I always found it weird that people streaming their gameplay is popular. When I was young, we would fight for the controller, and me as well. But like when you look at the numbers, like the biggest like followings on YouTube and social medias and everything else right now it's fucking gamers. It's insane the number of people that watch them. Like 30 hours a week play video games. It's nuts.
But why should you watch it? Why don't you play it yourself then?
I mean, I don't think we should get into like a value judgment on it because it's like,
No. This is my personal attitude. I
oh
mean,
yeah.
if I would have enough time, would you rather watch people playing games or play the games yourself? Because it's obvious that you like the game because you are watching people play the game.
But like, well, that's why I'm so interested in your comment about Tanya, because like, I like throwing a football, but I'd rather watch a football game of professionals than go out and play
and
catch.
that's true. There was a mistake, Mike, because I can be an amateur soccer player and go to the stadium and watch soccer. Yes, of course.
Right? Like, but like the thought that you had, that's like the same thought that I always have, which is that like, why would I watch someone play Halo when I can go out and play it, right? Just as easily. And you could just make the same argument about almost anything else that you actually do watch, right? Like,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of
I
course.
mean,
Why-
I
why-
could sit down and watch some TV, or I could get a glass of wine and start yelling at people and pretending to be a desperate housewife myself, right? There's nothing that they're doing that I can't do. But I'd rather just, sit down with the wife and watch them. And not have that drama
Yeah.
in my life itself.
And it's still you're right. You can put that on everything. It's like why are people watch? Why am I watching tutorials? Oh, no, okay, that's a bad example.
Yeah,
But
that's learning. That's
am I-
different.
Why am I watching people talking about 3D? I can do 3D at the same time on my own. It's the same. It's the same thing because it's out of interest. That's the reason.
Yeah. And like,
Because maybe it's also learning something. Also,
I mean-
the gamers.
well, so one of the things, so Tanya, well, just real quick out to Tanya, you're wrong. You guys watch a sport that's 90 minutes long and they score like maybe a point in the entire 90 minutes. It's terrible.
3 points, Mike. When they win, they get 3 points.
The consolation prize in football is 3 points. But my least favorite sport to watch is baseball, American baseball. I think
I've never watched it in
they
my
just
whole life.
stand around. Half the time they're all standing around and only one dude's doing any work. And I do not like baseball, but one of my buddies that I knew from high school got really into it. He wasn't an athletic like jock type of guy, but like when he was more the artistic type. He went to the Art Institute of Chicago, amazing artist, really talented craftsman. He really got into baseball, and I'm like, why? Like the games are like 4 hours long and nothing happens, and he's like, well, I started in baseball. You keep if you're a big follower of baseball, you take notes, right? Like every pitch. What was the pitch? Did he hit it? Did he swing? Did he not swing? Was it a left-handed pitcher? Was it a left-handed batter? Bob, all these things, and you fill them out yourself to keep track of it. I forget. There's a name for it. And he's like, and when you start following the sport that way, you realize that the players, right, the ones that get, all the attention and salaries, that's not the interesting thing about the sport, he says, according to him. The interesting thing is how the coaches manage the game. The strategy, like the upper level strategy, which you don't see unless you actually like fill out all of the things and keep track of like, oh yeah, every time this guy comes in, they pull a left-handed batter, blah, blah, whatever.
It's still super boring, man.
I agree, it's super boring, but the thing that people get really interested in, it seems, beyond just like, I like going to the stadium and drinking a beer and having a hot dog, is like, if you want to make it interesting, it's not about whether or not he hits it or not. It's about how the coaches are playing their resources. It becomes like a strategy game. I don't remember why I started that.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember why I started it. I'm not making an argument for it. I still hate baseball, but
But I have a question. I mean, you're a U.S. guy. I saw that in a couple of movies where they were talking about playing fantasy football. What is fantasy football? Can you explain what it is? Because I don't have a clue what it is. I know fantasy for me is a fucking role play game.
Well, I mean,
action role playing or whatever.
Well, fantasy football is so. I only did fantasy football 1 year, and I hated it. The idea behind what it is at the beginning of a season, you and your friends start a fantasy league, and usually that's somewhere between like 8 and 15 people. And you have your own draft where you draft players. You can draft from any team, but you need a quarterback, a defense, an offense, a kicker, a wide receiver, all the positions that you would actually need to assemble a team if you were going to play in real life. And then every week you are up against somebody else in that team, and like if your quarterback throws a touchdown, you get points. If your defense forces a fumble or recovers a fumble or interception, you get points. And then at the end of the day, you have a certain amount of points. Your opponent for that week has a certain amount of points. And by the end, there is a winner of your fantasy.
So you're basically you're creating your own team.
Yeah.
And I can say, yeah, this is my quarterback is this and this guy from the Broncos, and my 2 wide receivers is this guy from whatever.
Yep.
And so then in the end of the week, after the game week, I just add up all the points, all the shit they did, and then.
Yep. I mean, the computer does it all, but yeah, like all of your individual players have, and then you have a certain amount of points at the end of the week. And every week, at least in fantasy football, I don't know how the other fantasy leagues work, but in most fantasy football leagues, like if we have 10 people in our league, like 1 week I would be paired up with you, and 1 week I would be paired up with somebody else, and then so you have a win-loss record based off of any given week. Did you get more points than the person you were against?
Okay, yeah, this sounds like fun.
I hated it.
Yeah,
I don't. Well, because you have to follow I just follow my one team, right? Like I'll go out on a good Sunday. I'm happy to sit in a bar and watch football all day, but I'm only paying attention to and following like one team. In fantasy, you got to follow the entire league, and it takes work and then like you don't care so much about how your team does. You care more about how your players do, and I just didn't like it.
What's your favorite team, man?
Green Bay Packers, baby.
Okay. I played football for like 7 years.
American football?
Yes.
They have that in Germany?
Yeah, they have that in Germany. I played as a running back, man.
No shit.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm visually showing it or not. My head's exploding right now. I didn't know they played football anywhere besides in the U.S.
No, there are a lot of American football teams in Germany.
You're not fucking with me.
No.
Tanya, please let me know if he is fucking with me.
No. I played for Buxtehude United Dragons. Really?
I mean, you could have said anything there. I wouldn't have known whether that was accurate or not. I mean, I can't Google check. I can't spell that word, let alone pronounce it.
Really? I did.
Dude, that's amazing.
And I started with flag football.
Yeah, naturally. That's a natural progression. Did you, you played it for a while. You like it. You liked it to some amount.
I liked it. Yeah, of course. And then I got 16 and I liked other things.
Yeah, I wonder what. Please share.
Wait. I went swimming.
That's what the kids are calling it these days. Who am I to judge? But so do you follow American football at all?
No.
Do you? If you come out and visit me in the fall, and we'd go to the bar on Sunday and watch football, probably regardless.
I would be totally up for that.
Rock and roll. Oh wait, we're going on an hour, but I am also out of beer. So Keep them wrong answer, Mike. Go Birds. Oh, Peter Hanby. Pedro. Green Bay Packers, not the Eagles. Peter Hanby.
My favorite team were the Cincinnati Bengals.
All I can think about is Zumba pants or whatever they called those pants and Boomer Esiason. But let me go grab another beer and just a quick shout out to my man Pedro in the chat there. I like the Eagles too, but they're not my team. Packers are my team. But Pedro is actually the project that I've been working on. He is one of the architects of it, and he hasn't seen what I've been up to in the past couple of days. It's awesome, buddy. Get excited. Anyways, I will be right back. Keep them, and I haven't been checking if there's any good questions. So you do that. I'll be right back.
Yes, I pretend to freeze. So what do we have here in the chat? Can you just shoot some topics? That would be awesome. I think there are no people interested in football talk here. I mean, if you are, it's cool. So shoot some topics. I don't know where Mike went, so I'm trying to entertain you. I mean, we are still 16 people here, which is amazing. I can show you the office again. Well, I can show you some people walking outside, which is maybe also amazing. I think it's even illegal to show people here. This is our amazing studio. My little wife is not here. This is her place. And we have a cool brick wall. And Mike is back, and I don't have to entertain you alone.
Were you giving them another office tour for the people that tuned in late and missed the first one?
Yes, of course, because I didn't know what to tell them.
Yeah, you just got to do what you got to do. Yes. Cheers, my friend. Yeah, well, Tanya, we have plenty of idiots in America, and they're not even all playing or watching American football. Some of them are just idiots. A lot of them are just idiots. But what can you do?
But we do have idiots in Europe as well. A lot of. I mean, I think Milan would agree. And when you're in Germany, you have a lot of idiots. When I come to Serbia with my wife, there are also a whole lot of idiots.
There are just a lot of idiots. Just a lot of idiots.
Yeah, everywhere. They are everywhere. Especially at the moment, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that there are more idiots in Serbia than in Germany. No. It's really equal everywhere in Europe. But at this time, you see a lot of idiots. We have a lot of discussions.
The real interesting thing that I think that we're seeing right now is where there's idiots everywhere. And probably if you were to do the math, equal percentage, right? But different countries are putting said idiots at different levels of power, right? And I'm pretty sure that we're winning that one right now, as far as we've put the biggest idiot at the highest level of power.
Yeah.
The UK is up there, right? Poland's got a guy going on, right? So like the interesting thing is not the number of idiots, it's the amount of power that they're somehow starting to get. It's a problem.
Yeah. I mean,
but that really takes us close to political talk. We should stay away from politics.
No. There's no political talk. That's another YouTube channel we can do that. No, but
you have to tell me what is your wife talking about?
I know she just wrote the German word otter. I don't think it's an English word. Let me just translate.
Is she talking about the animal?
Yeah.
I have an interesting fact about otters. Would you like to hear it?
Are they really called? No, yes. There's otter. Yeah, it's really an otter.
Do you know that otters specifically not river otters, sea otters, have the densest fur in the animal kingdom.
What? No
And
way.
to the extent that I'm going to mess up these numbers, but they're going to be in the ballpark of right. So don't quote me on this, but you can take like the general rule from it. Something like a husky, like a sled dog from the north, has at like their densest area of fur. I want to say that they're coming in at like 60,000 follicles per inch, which an inch is like 5 centimeters squared, or no, 5 square centimeters. It's 2.5 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters. An otter, a sea otter, can have as much as 1 million follicles per square inch.
What a beautiful and amazing animal, Mike.
And that's why the Russians almost hunted them to extinction.
And they
because they sink. So they would go out on boats, and they just kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen them, they float around and they have their little shell and they eat crabs and squid and all that kind of stuff. And they're fast and they're agile, and they don't have any predators, natural predators, because they live in like really cold water, really cold water, and they don't have much fat on them, right? Because they don't use fat, they don't use fat to insulate, they use their fur to insulate. And so, like, it's a lot of effort to catch one for, like, something like a, shark or a seal. It's a lot of effort, and you don't get a lot of fat and calories from exerting it to get it. So they don't have any natural predators. When humans realized that, like, hey, this is the best fur in the world, we started hunting them, and largely that was shooting them from boats. Pedro, I'm coming in. Well, it depends. Where am I taking the sample? But, so they would shoot them from boats and then rotor them really quickly and try to scoop them out of the water because they sink. And so most of them got shot and sunk. Almost went to extinction. How you doing over there, Patrick?
The comments are amazing. I mean, this is what I wanted, Mike.
Wait. When we started this whole thing of like me and you chatting live, your hope was that at some point we'd be talking about otters.
This is what I wanted, I think 3 or 4 nerdrants ago. This was my final goal.
And you've slowly been manipulating the whole system to bring us to the point that we're at right now.
Yeah. To come to the other point. The whole audience, all the 16 people, I bought them.
I mean, I'll take them however we can get them. I'm not proud.
No.
And Milan's throwing in some more otter facts. They do get favorite rocks, and they store them under their armpit when they go down to get the crabs. They find a favorite rock that they use to open the crabs and clams and all that, and then they put it in their armpit and then swim down, and they come back up and then pull their favorite rock out and go back at it.
And from now on, it's a tradition for our nerd friend to find out a new otter fact in every episode.
If we ever make a logo for one of these things, otter is gonna officially be the mascot.
I guess so, and maybe we should think about a new name then. And
we should throw that out to the chat and have them help us.
Yes, because Mike and I, we were talking about the name Nerd Rant, because the Nerd Rant is something I didn't remember, but I think I heard it from Antagma, like from some videos from Moritz Schwind, the Houdini guys. They called their videos Nerd Rant, and maybe I heard it. I know it from their videos. So we should rename this. And yes. Mike and I were talking about it, and maybe you have ideas. Please, everyone in the chat, please at least throw 2 ideas for possible names.
I mean, why don't we just go with the first one that was thrown out? Otterfax. From now on, regardless of what we're talking about, we'll just call our talk Otterfax.
It's super funny because it sounds like artifacts.
It does sound like artifacts. You just you just take that space out.
Man, that is super cool. But I'm waiting for some more suggestions. So,
I mean, Tanya, you do know that I worked in Alaska, right? Like with tourists, so like I know all these facts. And then do you know what? Do you know? Interesting left-handed fact. It's something. The number like humans that are left-handed is something like 10 or 12%. And that's true in almost any species. So when you look at like bears as a whole, it's like 10 or 12%. When you look at things like moose and like legged animals, like their left or right sidedness it's always like it always comes out right around like 10 or 12%.
This is an other fact.
It's an other fact. It's an other fact.
I think maybe other facts is amazing. We should think about it, but we need some more suggestions.
Nerd rant and otter stuff. You had an amazing idea when we were chatting about it before, but it's also taken.
You mean? Tell it.
You came up with it. You thought of it. It's a good one.
I don't remember.
You didn't think it was Brother in Arts?
Yeah, Brothers in Arts.
Yeah. Oh, the Morning Depresso dudes are here. What's going on, guys? I'm assuming that's you know what I didn't do when we were talking? I wonder how many times I said it wrong. Right now I'm like, is it Stefan or Stefan?
It's Stefan Loposchny.
Stefan. I hope I said it right when we were talking.
If I say it right. Stefan
you said it better than I would have. That is a guarantee. Absolute 100% ironclad guarantee. But glad to have you here, my friend.
Sorry, but for me, Mike said that it's not okay because there's a non-popular band called Brothers in Arts. But fuck that, Brothers in Arts would be amazing.
I mean, what was it? I just remember Googling it and seeing that there were other Brother in Art. Like, should we just be Otters in Arts?
Otters and Arts is amazing.
Let's see how many. Let's see. Oh, and there's a tattoo company. There's a bunch of different ones. How many? I mean, they got 1,000 likes on their Facebook page. They're big time.
Yeah. Okay.
I was kind of saying that facetiously. No long A. Well, it wouldn't be Steph. Long A would be.
No, it's Stefan.
Wait, but yeah, it wouldn't be Stefan. Stefan is a short. Stefan is a short A though. Right? See, this is why I'm so bad at names. I don't even know what the right words are. You know what I do like is that I'm just picturing if we were I mean wait let me Was it Milan? I think that mentioned this when you find otters like floating around, hanging out. They are
When they hold hands.
they do hold hands, right? Like so they
Yeah.
don't float apart. And so what I'm picturing in my head, right? Like, how can I get this? We'll just what was the it's gonna show up on the YouTube channel. I'm not gonna deal with sharing my screen, but or sharing my screen on GoToMeeting because it's a mess. Can you see that on YouTube just yet, Patrick?
Yes.
I'm just thinking of the amazing logo that we could make out of two otters holding hands, floating around. I mean, come on, right?
Okay.
Like that would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So okay. So the new name has to have something to do with otters. Okay.
And-
so
and-
but this is. Oh no, Mike.
And that's from Tanya. The initial otter suggestion was from Tanya. That makes me so very happy.
Yes, but Mike, this is a competition now.
Best otter pun.
No, the new name for the nerd friend is a competition. Next Thursday, we will have our judgment. You and me, we will be the jury.
We got nerdy otters. We also have come to the otter side. Oh my lord.
The other guys.
The otter guys. I mean, the otter guys is good.
This is amazing. Or guys outer space.
Otter shit.
Yeah, it's arts and other shit. No, I think, Mike, I think we should do a competition.
Okay.
For the name of the renaming of our nerd rap.
I am absolutely okay with that. With
But
as long as it's constrained to otters must be involved in some way, shape, or form, I'm all for
yeah,
it.
yeah, okay.
Significant otters. What?
Oh, Tanya's just asking what they can win. What do you say, Mike?
I mean, she can win a husband who just started making his own beer.
She already won that.
Well, then it's not a prize. She gets to drink
yes.
some of said beer.
Oh yes, no.
Here's the night.
What can you give and what can I give? So, the first prize for is a bottle of self-brewed beer of my new bird brew. I show you the new logo because my last name is Vogel and Vogel means bird in English. And I show you the logo of my new beer because I started to brew beer in the basement.
Is this the logo that I've already seen?
Yes.
Yeah, I love this thing.
This is my new logo of my beer. Maybe you can see that here.
Yep, everyone can see it. Dude, I love it.
And this is the bottle.
Wait, can you just wait, how are you gonna get it on the bottle?
I'm just printing a sticker.
Like a clear sticker? Wait, can you
I
can
don't
you
know yet.
can you just, like this is pretty low res because of our issues getting things set up today. Can you just zoom in on the bird on top of bird for the folks
Yeah,
at
of
home?
course.
Because it's like it's hard to see just basically because of my own mess up on how this thing is set up today. So awesome. I just love it.
And so I would say I'll send a bottle of self-brewed beer because I don't have a capacity to send more bottles. And what do you say?
I will send a hand-drawn sketch that the name that the name inspires me to do.
Okay. So we should set up kind of a banner or something for sharing at social media for our naming competition.
Yes. Which means we need to use some otters for...
Yes, of course. We do that tomorrow, Mike, and post it tomorrow. Because
yes.
for me, it's even.
We do it tomorrow night, your time. Pedro, who's listening in the audience, is waiting on some images for me that I need to finish tonight.
Yes. Okay. So I think we should finish with this amazing competition we just came up with for our new nerd name.
Our otter-based nerd rant name.
Which is amazing.
Tanya, I don't know how to put that in the post. That's a real life thing only.
Okay. Yeah.
Patrick, it's always so lovely to have you on and to be chatting with you.
Likewise, my man.
I very much enjoy it. Folks in the audience, thank you for your help with getting the otter thing off the ground. Now let's just bring it home this week and really, really do our best on...
Look at Tanya's comment, please.
Oh, that's what I was saying. That's only in that's a real life thing. I can't send that through the post. It's not the same.
No.
In otter news. Everyone in the chat, thank you for being here and hanging out with us. It is always a pleasure. Patrick, thank you for being here. It is always a pleasure to talk to you. Though I do, is Tanya at home? Is that why she's not throwing anything at you?
Yeah, she's at home. Yeah.
Tanya, thank you for being there, as always. You are always appreciated. I feel like Tanya is like the never on-screen third partner to these chats. She brought up otters in the first place. We have this whole thing to thank. Yeah. We have Tanya to thank for all of this.
Yeah, she will be always part of it.
Okay, so next Thursday, you're on for next Thursday.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll do a chat, and I think what we'll do, I think I love just like sitting here shooting the shit with you, and I feel like here's what I think we should do. We have the idea of like I try to make something in TyFlow, and then you try to do post production and all of these other like things. I think what we try to do is we pick, as opposed to any of that, we just kind of scratch it all, and we just say like, let's pick the simplest. Either we pick like the simplest, stupidest thing that, not stupid, but like here's like a little trick that's easy to teach that I think people would appreciate it, or that, you know, I'll do it for you that I think you wouldn't know and you can do it for me. Little things so that we can mostly just bullshit. Talk about others.
Yeah, because this is amazing. Yes, of course.
Right?
And I will show you guys. There are already 3 people left, and they don't know what I'm saying. I will show you guys my brewery in the basement next week.
My number hasn't changed the whole time, so I have no idea how many people are still watching. I think it's just stuck at this number.
Okay, so I will be. I try to do a brewery tour.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I love that you have a brewery in the basement. Okay, I think Patrick, you hang out. I think we're done for the day.
Yeah.
We both have work to do. I have to hit render. It is officially 85 degrees in this little office. I don't know what that is
What
in
does
Celsius.
that mean?
Hot.
What is it in Celsius?
85 in Celsius. I mean, it's warm. It is 30 degrees in my office.
Whoa, that is a lot.
You can't see the sweat? Is the camera
Oh,
hiding it?
yes.
Anyways, you hang on. Oh, do you want to do the beeps and bops and boops?
You do the beeps. It's your thing. It's your
Okay,
thing.
well, either way, guys, thank you for being here as always. We'll be back tomorrow with Paintover Friday. Patrick, thank you for joining me. Cheers to you as well. And beep. Wait for it. Boop.